That really depends on a lot of things. For a lot of people, so you've already done a lot of the gross level work. You've gotten the garbage that's been parked in your digestive tract, in your 32 feet of digestive tract. That's coming out now. It's coming out now big time, right? For some of you, it hasn't come out yet, but it's going to start coming out soon. And that changes everything. I mean, that's huge. You know about that, don't you, Joan? You know about that too, right? Both of you over there know about that. It changes everything. I mean, this is truly life-changing, because up until now, if this stuff's been collecting for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, it's been sucking water, okay? Some of you came in with fatigue-like symptoms, right? Well, of course you're fatigued. I mean, this morning, I'm talking to a young man. We finished his fast. He's now on the, I think it's his 6th day of refeeding, if I remember correctly. He's up in northeast England somewhere. And I'm still working with him for 4 more days via Skype. But he had his first bowel movement last night. And he did something that not very many people do. I've seen this maybe 20 or so times over the last 19 years. Okay? He passed a foot-long chunk of hard black material that looked just like his intestine. And he actually freaked out, thinking he was passing a piece of his intestine. Except it was black. He doesn't really know what color his intestines are. But it was, it had the same shape. It was a hollow tube. Like hard black rubber. Okay? People say mucoid plaque doesn't exist. BS. I've seen this over and over again. Okay? This came out of his body in one piece. It's like a foot-long section of it. Shaped like his large intestine. If that was sitting in his ascending colon where the body absorbs minerals, no wonder he's felt so tired and exhausted. He's not getting the minerals he needs. Okay, if it's sitting somewhere in your small intestine where we absorb all of the vitamins and most of the phytonutrients, how are you possibly going to feel good? How are you not going to feel exhausted? And this is going on for a lot of people, where a significant section of their intestine is probably coated with this stuff. Now again, you know about this as well as anybody. Joan over there, who over the last month has assisted in removing, I can only guess, but we're talking at least 20 pounds now, right? At least 20 pounds of old, hard, black stuff. Well, no wonder her husband's been seeing serious health declines for years now at his age. How could he not have serious challenges when this stuff is got to be preventing the body from assimilating properly? Okay? It's got to keep his body dehydrated, because it's going to keep continually trying to soak up water to be eliminated and never actually succeeded in getting it out until now. I mean, had you ever seen anything like this happen in all these years? He never passed chunks of black hard stuff. Most people don't. Most people don't think it exists because they never see it until they fast. Until after they fast. Okay. So,
We just did something pretty weird this morning.
Something pretty weird this morning? What happened?
It wasn't black, but it was still very fine, and it was almost like the shape of an intestine. It was all liquid.
Right. Yeah. So he shaped an intestinal piece that was molded to his intestine, passed this morning. Crazy stuff. It's exactly what I'm talking. It's not always black. I mean, this stuff might not have been quite as old. Now, in his case, he's been completely backed up for quite a while. So there could be stuff he started eating at least 4 weeks ago, maybe a little longer now. So maybe stuff that's been sitting there for the last month has now taken on this shape. Okay, maybe it's not been sitting there for years. That stuff is usually black and foul smelling. But maybe it's been sitting there for a month. Couldn't move. Okay, who knows?
So if somebody does not pass the black old stuff, can you assume that they were clean, or they didn't fast long enough? Or?
Yeah, it's a great question. So what if someone doesn't pass this old black stuff? Can you assume that they're clean? Maybe they didn't fast long enough? What does that tell us? Unfortunately, that alone doesn't necessarily tell us very much. Where there is significant dehydration, chances are good it hasn't passed yet. And it's going, you know, when someone is more dehydrated, it typically is going to take longer and it's going to be more difficult because this stuff is likely to be more hard, more compacted, more dry, and harder to move. So it may simply take a while.
It might still happen if, you know, the person stays on milk.
Yeah, I mean, it probably will still happen because your body has been breaking it down. How do we know that your bodies have been breaking this stuff down?
And then energy for anything else?
No energy for anything else? What else? There's more direct
Movement,
There's some movement in the belly. What else?
gas.
Gas. You haven't eaten anything until a few days ago. None of you had eaten anything for a few weeks. In your case, more than 6-7 weeks. And yet, you're releasing gas on a regular and consistent basis. A little bit every day, in some cases a lot every day, right? How's that possible? Where's that coming from? That's old material breaking down, releasing methane. If your system were clean, there wouldn't be any gas. Okay? Now, you know, again, believe it or don't believe it, when I fast, and so, you know, I think you guys all know my story more or less. Just a recap for anyone watching that may not know. I fasted dozens of times now, including many, many short fasts of a week and about a dozen or more fasts of a couple weeks or more, 2 to 3 weeks. I've also been eating a close to perfect diet for more than 23 years. Okay, the end of November, the day after Thanksgiving, 2014 was my 23-year anniversary of that. I don't use supplements. I don't have a dehydrator. I stay away from nuts and seeds. You know, I don't eat dried food most of the time. Sometimes, but not very often. A few times a year. So my diet's been pretty unusual. I don't know anyone who's fasted as much as I have. You know, the whole thing is a little bit unusual. When I fast, there is no gas. There is no weakness. I feel perfectly fine. Okay? I mean, it's like I'm not fasting. So, and this is why I've said, and some of you have heard me say this and maybe didn't believe me, when people say they crash because they've run out of fuel, I don't think so. You've got fuel. You guys have been, you went 7, a skinny guy, kind of came in with very little to start with, 6 feet tall, 135 pounds-ish. When he started, fasted for 7.5 weeks. Here, you all saw the end. You didn't see the beginning. You all saw the end of that. You were here for even close to the beginning. You know it's true, right? I mean, I suppose he could have. Maybe he's got like cases of Pop-Tarts in his bag. Who knows? But, you know, it appears like he fasted for 7.5 weeks, starting with almost nothing. And so we know it's possible to do that, right? But clean? Not yet. Still working on it. There's still a lot going on. So